right, so there's going to be a new Nightreign patch 1.2 update that's coming out tomorrow. It's supposed to be coming out today, but they actually had an earthquake, so they had to postpone everything. But with the update adding duos, I wanted to go over this video real quick because so far I've collected around 100 plus hours. I think I'm 125 hours into Nightreign. So clearly I like the game. Clearly I think it's really fun and I'm enjoying it every single day. Continue to play different characters, remembrances, all that other stuff, and trophies. I think I only have 2 left to complete. So fairly excited for this update. On top of that, I also am waiting for the DLC and future updates. But with this video being shot and done with the update, I also wanted to go over some ideas that I have for the future updates and things that I would like to see them do. Particularly, it's not like in any specific order, but I do have a few things here and there that, like, if they could, I would rather them do it, update it sooner than later. And if it's too much, and obviously later would be more ideal, just in case for bug fixes and anything else like that they need to get fixed. But game modes specifically, I have a couple of ideas. I'm not sure if it's going to be the best, but things that I was thinking on the top of my head while playing the games would be a cat and mouse type of game mode. Basically, you would have the days 1 and 2, but with that, you would also have a boss that would consecutively chase you, and you could defeat it, kind of like how Margit does, but basically, instead of like defeating him and getting power gain and stuff like that, it'll basically be chasing you throughout the whole map, so that way you could actually invade it, get into specific loops, and instead of defeating it completely, what it would do is you would defeat it for a time being to pause it. So, and then obviously for scaling wise, because you would still have to get things done around the map, you need to level up, get different skill sets if you want to acquire different items, everything else like that. It would scale based on the player's levels. So I'm thinking it will go through like a set of 5, so 1 through 5, 5 through 10, 10 through 15. But I think it'd just be a cool idea, especially when it comes to the map being so heavily known already. I mean, people already have different strats. I have my own strats, especially when it comes to legendary weapons, where to go. Nobody even uses the churches anymore. They rather get leveled up and get all their strength acquired for, instead of chasing the flasks when it comes to the Church of America. But I think it'd just be a cool idea to give it some more chances to explore the map, so that way you guys aren't just maintaining in a specific area or just going after bosses to get specific items or specific levels, because at the end of the day, if you just complete a couple S tier bosses, you can get to level 15 by day 1. It's really not that hard, and by day 2, it practically makes it to where there's no point in actually getting any more souls. You get all these runes, you get everything acquired, your weapons maxed out. Nobody even goes in cave systems anymore. But yeah, I think it would be cool ideas for a cat and mouse. And then if by the end of the second day, before you go beat the Night Lord, I think it'd be cool to use that as a guaranteed second boss on the second night. So there's already times when you can get a second boss fight after the day 2 boss. So I think it'd just be another cool idea. And then obviously, instead of just dropping a purple, it would automatically guarantee a legendary weapon. I think it'd just be a nice idea. So after that cat and mouse, I would also like for them to include a trial game mode. So basically make it to where you defeat bosses after bosses and then collect a item, and then have that set for your character. I noticed that when it comes to your character as a whole, you have your starting bow, or your sword or hammer or whatever it is for a specific character that you like to beat. And most players, they play with their specific character throughout the entire time. Most people aren't chasing trophies. They're not chasing every single remembrance. They have a set character that they like and they continue with it. And I think it'd just be really cool if you have a trial mode to where after all the trials, say you got a trial from 1 to 10, like it's like a Mortal Kombat tier system when you go up the ladder, right? If you complete that 10th one, you get like some type of starting weapon that you don't have to worry about levels, but it just makes you run through levels 1 through 5 pretty quickly. I think that'd be really good. On top of that, if somebody wants to do trial runs for other characters, I think it'll be an easier way for them to get to change different characters and actually want to explore different things. Because if you are on a set character, it can be a little bit hectic trying to figure out all the right strats and the meta for that specific character. You have to divulge your time into YouTube and everything else like that. But if they just had a trial run to where like, hey, this is the starting weapon, but if you want, you could do this trial while, and if you beat the weapon, it gives you time to learn the character. On top of that, if you complete it, you get a specific weapon that you can ultimately customize. Because so far, the customization, all we have is the runes, and then we also have not runes, relics, and we have costumes. That's about it. And not to mention, that's another thing I want to go over. They need to update the costumes, because the ones that we have right now are like decent, but just the remembrance costumes, besides oh my god, I'm forgetting his name, but he uses the he's the heavy guy. He's the only one that has like a decent remembrance costume, because it changes his outfit completely. Everybody else's is basically the same costume with like a badge. I think that's really idiotic. I think they need to fix something where it just needs to change when it comes to costumes. If not, allow us to change the head, the torso, and the leg, and the garments when it comes to like arms and stuff like that. Because what we have right now is there's no point in customization. There's no really good customization, especially when it comes to just choosing relic and costume. So they definitely need to increase that as they need to include that as well. Another one that I'm pretty sure me and the community have also talked about, especially on Discord, increase the levels of the characters. Getting to level 15 is probably the easiest thing. Everyone's mostly done it by day 2 in the beginning, or at least towards the end, if you just chase after bosses. Nobody does the camps anymore. Nobody does the caves anymore. It's just not the correct strat. They need to figure something out to where they can increase the levels. If not, make it to where these camps and the caves and everything else like that has a better chance to get higher levels. If you're going to stick to level 15, then at least make it to where people aren't just chasing bosses. Unless that's what exactly that they're going for, is just to be like a boss fight, which, I mean, I could see that, because it is Elden Ring at the end of the day. People do want to make it to where it's just a hard boss. But I just think that they need to do something to where it on day 1 and 2 to make it harder to get to level 20, because everyone has a level 15 day 1 strat, and everyone just rocks out castle, defeats knights, or if not knights, then you go to the silver knights, and if it's not silver knights, then you got the trolls. It's just easier. You do the entire castle, and then like a boss or two, and next thing you know, you're level 15. They definitely need to increase the levels from 15 to 20. I think it's just going to be easier, especially when it comes to the Night Lord, because I think if some people are still having trouble with the Night Lord, at least that extra 5 levels will increase it to where it makes it a little bit easier for them. Another one with that, I would like to have it more shifts whenever it comes to the map. I think everyone's pretty much memorized the map so far, and there's only you got Mountaintop, you got Rotted Woods, you got Crater, and then you have Noclateo. After that, there's pretty much nothing else to do, and there's not it's not even like there's anything like crazy to do with those things. Like I get that it's like an adjustment to the main map, but I feel like if they just had some type of like something with it where maybe if they're just going to keep those maps, but then you have that cat and mouse that can make it a little bit easier for exploration and actually wanted to go to different ways, besides just having the circle go to a targeted area. Like Rotted Woods, you already know that the circle is going to end in Rotted Woods. Mountaintop, you know it's going to end in Mountaintop. Crater, you know it's going to end in Crater. And then Noclateo, you know it's going to end in Noclateo, or at least somewhere close to there. Like if you're just smart with it, you're able to go to these positions, and the circle doesn't do much. On top of having something else besides with the map, they need to make the circle at least somewhat more faster or more death dealing when it comes to the damage, because so far if someone's able to just get to level 6 before the first circle closes, people are pretty much okay with sacrificing a level and then immediately spawning them into another circle in order to just reset. And that's what I do all the time whenever I'm in Noclateo. If I see the circle's far, I'll get myself to level 6, reset, go straight to 5, and go from there, because there's no point in running away from it. They need to do something to where it actually needs to be where you want to leave and you need to run out. Like there needs to be some type of thing that's going to be an actual detriment when it comes to the circle. Another thing that I would love for them to add is after you beat a certain amount of Night Lords, hopefully they can do it to where it's like the ones they're doing now when it comes to the patches, and they have a specific boss that will start at their second phase and then go from there. But I feel like people are completing that, and people have so many YouTube guides on how to complete it and how to get better with it, especially when it comes to 3 players. I play solos a lot, but I would love to have it to where if you beat every single Night Lord, it would have a secondary game mode and tier to where it's like it doesn't have to be automatic, it doesn't have to be updated weekly, but to have where it's just the Night Lord is harder but better rewards towards that game in a separate mode. So basically you have your entire list of your regular bosses, and then say you complete all the Night Lords, then you unlock a category to where you have all the Night Lords again, but the drops are better and the bosses are harder, to where it's going to be easier, not easier, it's going to make it where players want to complete, have something to come back to the game to, because a lot of the people, even though the game still has a good amount of players players playing. It has dropped off of people just completing it after 60 hours or plus. I know people who have more than 100 hours like me, and that's great and all, but I just feel like in order to get that retention of customers, it'd be easier if like you have something to where you complete this goal. And now since you completed this goal, if you're one of those players that are able to complete the entire goal, well, now you have something else to look forward to instead of completing the same bosses and trying to get it on a different time or different RNG runs or just creating different runs. I think it's just something easier to get players to retain and be more curious about the game. Lastly, this kind of goes hand in hand. This is going to be a huge one, but I don't know how well it would work because I feel like it would take a lot more time. Either, all right, there's two options, or if both, that they could do this. I would love to have more chaos and RNG when it comes to the game modes. So far, like day one is a snooze fest. There's plenty of games where like if I'm recording, I'll just skip until like I collect items or stuff like that and continue on from there, because the first 10 minutes is literally, if I want to get from one area to the map to the next, you press W or you go forward with the analog stick and you just go. There's nothing really chasing you. There's nothing attacking you. Enemies, if they're not aggroed, they pretty much leave you alone after you get with a certain distance. Especially with the new mechanic with the run, it's just easier to escape enemies. There's nothing really going for with the enemies that's going to be too difficult to the point where it's like, oh my god, I really had to finish this. Oh my god, I had to beat these people because at the end, I had to beat these people because if I don't, then like they're going to continue chasing me or it's going to be too difficult. Like I need to complete these players. I need to complete this enemy. I need to complete this, even if it's like a small enemy, it's not like a boss. It just needs to have more chaos so that way the player actually, and maybe at least to me, but whenever I have like a memorable moment, it's always like when the boss is really hard. Like for instance, like Pontiff, Prime Radon, Melania, dude, the bell bearing guy from the Nightreign in general. But like these are some of the bosses where I had it was like so chaotic and such a hard time where it just became memorable. I feel like they need to do something to where they need to input more enemies or more bosses in the games to where like make it seem like you can't breathe. Granted, there should be areas to where you get into, say you get to level up and like within a specific radius you can breathe. But at the end of the day, like if you're trying to leave that area, I shouldn't get from one corner to the map to the next by holding W and be bored on my phone. I mean, there's plenty of instances where I have to cut video out just when I'm recording on a gameplay because of how bored I am by just going from one area of the map to the next because there's nothing chasing me and it's not chaotic. Now, hand in hand with that, what I would love for them to do is have a day 1, a day 2, and actually a day 3. Day 3 could be a lot shorter. Say day 1 is 15 minutes, day 2 could be 10, and then day 3 could be 5. But we need something to where it's a little bit harder for the players, especially with how much of a drop off and how many people have played the game already and beat everybody already. I just don't see myself playing this for another 100 hours if they don't update it to a point. Like, I'm glad that Duos is coming around, and I love that Duos is coming around, but at the end of the day, it should have been as soon as the game dropped, Duos should have been there. And maybe that was a smart move on them, so that way they have Duos, so that way people can come back. It's like, hey, there's a new game mode. But if there's players like me who just can go and queue up with some randoms, or I love playing solos, it doesn't really do much for me. Now, granted, there's going to be different gameplays and videos that we could do with it, and I'm pretty sure I probably could get like another 25, 50 hours out of it, but I just don't see how, if this is going to be such a major update before the DLC, how players can continue coming back without at least some of the things that I talked about. Some type of game modes, more RNG, more chaos, more customization. I know they're doing some UI stuff when it comes to figuring out different ways to organize and better make use of relics, but I just think that these things really need to get updated if Nightreign is going to continue being a 2, 3, 4, 5 year game to where people keep coming back. Granted, I love what they've done so far, especially with the price range of $40, but since I love this game so much, these are the things I just wish that they would implement so that way we can continue playing as a community. But yeah, that's about it, guys. See ya.